There's a quiet power in choosing progress over perfection. We live in a world that celebrates the finish line, but rarely the messy journey. Somewhere along the way, we began to believe we had to be complete to be worthy. But wholeness isn't a destination, it's a process. You're allowed to be in the middle of your story and still matter deeply. You can still be healing and still be enough. You can still be learning and still be valuable. Growth doesn't always look like rising. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like tears. Sometimes it's just continuing when everything in you wants to stop. The truth is, progress is rarely linear. Some days, you'll leap forward. Other days, you'll crawl. And some days, standing still will be the bravest thing you do. But no matter how slow it feels, it's still movement. Your timeline doesn't have to match anyone else's. Life isn't a race. You're not behind. You're simply on your way. That's a beautiful place to be. There's something sacred about being unfinished. It means there's more to come. More depth. More joy. More understanding of who you truly are. It means you haven't given up. It means you still believe in something. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's change. Maybe it's yourself. And that's enough. The world may pressure you to arrive, to have everything figured out, but you don't owe the world a perfect version of yourself. You owe yourself kindness for the journey, grace for the stumbles, compassion for the mess, celebration for the courage it takes to keep going. Because it does take courage to grow slowly, to heal quietly, to change gently. You may not see your progress day to day, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. It's like the roots of a tree growing deep beneath the surface. It's like the sun rising behind the clouds, like the tide reshaping the shore over time. You are becoming, even when you don't feel it. There is no shame in being a work in progress. The shame is in pretending you're not. Pretending steals your humanity, but truth gives you freedom. The freedom to be in process. The freedom to take your time. Freedom to rewrite your story as many times as you need. You're not broken. You're unfolding. You're not behind. You're growing in your own rhythm. You're not lost. You're on a winding path that will still lead you somewhere beautiful. And if no one has told you lately, you're doing better than you think, maybe today, you need to hear that it's okay to rest. That stopping doesn't mean you've failed. That slowing down doesn't erase the progress you've made. In fact, it often strengthens it. Because we grow not only through effort, but also through reflection, through pauses that help us realign, through moments of stillness that remind us who we are. So if all you can do today is breathe with intention. If all you can do is take one small step, take it with love. And if today feels like too much, give yourself permission to try again tomorrow. You are worthy in your striving. You are worthy in your stillness. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on your productivity. You are not a machine. You are a soul in progress. And that is more than enough. Maybe you've been told you need to have it all together, but together is a myth. No one has it all figured out. We're all just doing our best with what we have. So why not be gentle with yourself? Speak to yourself like someone you love. Cheer for your small wins. Forgive your missteps. And keep walking even if it's slow. Especially if it's slow. Because slow growth is still growth. Because gentle healing is still healing. Because you're still hearing. That means something. You're showing up for your life. You're doing the hard work of becoming. And that deserves to be seen. It deserves to be honored. So don't wait until you're done to love yourself. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Love yourself in this messy, beautiful middle. Because you are not a problem to solve. You are a process worth honoring. It's okay to be a work in progress. Somewhere, we learned to hide the parts of ourselves that are still healing. We began to mask our struggles with smiles. We polished our surfaces and ignored the cracks underneath. It's not because we wanted to lie, but because we thought we had to. We feared judgment more than we valued authenticity. We feared being too much or not enough at the same time. So we started performing the version of ourselves we thought would be accepted. The curated self, the filtered self. The self that never stumbles, never pauses, never doubts. But that version isn't real. And living in that performance slowly erodes your soul. You don't have to perform wholeness to be worthy of love. You don't have to be healed to be held. You don't have to be over it to be seen. Your humanity is not an inconvenience. It's not something to tuck away until you're more presentable. You're not messy because you're weak. You're messy because you're real. And real is what the world needs more of. You're allowed to take off the mask. You're allowed to tell the truth about where you are. It's okay if you're still figuring things out. It's okay if you don't have the right words yet. The courage to be honest is more powerful than the illusion of perfection. When you share your truth, you give others permission to do the same. And suddenly, no one feels alone anymore. There's freedom in not having to pretend. Freedom in saying, I'm still learning, or I don't know yet, or simply, I'm not okay today. That kind of honesty builds bridges, not walls, and it creates space for compassion to enter. There's nothing shameful about being in process. Growth is not something to be hidden. Healing is not something to rush. It's something to honor, something to respect, something that unfolds in its own time. Not for the comfort of others, but for your own becoming. You don't have to edit your life to make it easier for others to accept. You don't need to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. You're not required to meet impossible standards to be enough. You already are, even if you still doubt it, even if you don't feel it yet. You don't need to constantly achieve to justify your existence. You don't need to constantly perform to prove your value. You don't have to always be productive to be lovable. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to earn peace. You don't need to earn softness. These things are yours by right, not reward. And the more you allow yourself to believe that, the freer you become. Free from the burden of proving. Free from the cycle of self-comparison. Free from the need to have it all together all the time. Let go of the illusion that wholeness is a destination. It's not a perfect version of you waiting in the future. It's the you who exists right now, showing up in all your honesty. That is wholeness. Living without hiding. Being seen without armor. Being loved without a script. You are allowed to be uncertain. You are allowed to not know your next step. You are allowed to change your mind, start again, or sit in stillness. None of that makes you broken. It makes you brave. You are allowed to be a beginner. You're allowed to try and fall and try again. There's no shame in your stumbles. They are proof that you're moving, that you're alive, that you still care. What a world obsessed with appearing fine, being real is revolutionary. So let yourself be seen in the in-between. Let people witness your process, not just your highlight reel. The rough drafts of your life are still worth reading. The sketches are just as sacred as the final painting. You don't have to wait until you're done to be proud of yourself. Every step you've taken counts. Every small decision to keep going matters. No effort is wasted. No breath of self-compassion is ever in vain. So breathe. Be here. Exactly as you aren't finished. Unfolding real. You don't need to hide your becoming. It's not a flaw. It's a miracle. And no matter how imperfect your path may seem, it's yours. It's sacred because it's honest. And honesty is the most beautiful kind of strength. You are not a product. You are a process. And that process is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be human. So take your time. You're doing just fine. Healing doesn't follow a timeline. It doesn't move in straight lines or neat stages. Some days you'll feel light, other days you'll feel lost. And that's okay. That's not failure, it's the shape of growth. Sometimes you'll revisit old wounds you thought you'd buried. You'll ask yourself, why am I feeling this again?
Healing is not forgetting. It's remembering without being ruled.
The ache may return, but it doesn't mean you haven't grown. It simply means you're still alive and tender. And that tenderness is not weakness. It's strength in its softest form. Saying nothing and simply surviving. Your healing does not have to be loud to be real. You don't have to share every detail for it to count. Progress is still progress, even when no one else sees it. Especially when no one else sees it. The quiet work you do in the dark still matters. The silent choices you make to be kind to yourself, those count too. Every time you soften instead of harden, that is healing. Every time you choose rest over guilt, that is healing. Every time you forgive yourself for being human, that is healing. No one else gets to measure that for you. No one else walks in your shoes. No one else carries your memories. Only you know how far you've come. So let yourself honor that distance. Not just the big milestones, but the tiny ones too. The mornings you got up when everything felt heavy, the nights you comforted yourself without knowing how, the conversations you survived, the emotions you named, the boundaries you set. The days you were honest about your needs, they matter. They matter. Even when you're doubting yourself, even when you feel like a mess, even when you can't see the path ahead, you're still worthy, still becoming, still held by the truth that healing is allowed to take time. Your healing is not on a schedule. There's no deadline for being okay. There's no clock ticking down your worth. You don't have to explain your pace to anyone. The world may rush, but you are not required to match its speed. Slowness can be sacred. Stillness can be revolutionary. Pausing is not quitting, it's listening. Sometimes what you need most is to just be. Not fix, not improve. Just breathe. Let yourself feel what needs to be felt. Let the waves come and go. You are not the waves. You are the ocean. Deeper than your fears, faster than your setbacks, more expansive than your pain. Your pain does not define you, it reveals you. It opens doors to parts of you that were hidden, and you get to walk through them slowly. On your own terms, with your own grace. Some days will feel like breakthroughs. Other days will feel like starting over. But both are part of the process. Both are steps forward. You are not back at square one. You are circling deeper, not falling behind. You are integrating, not failing. The spiral of growth always leads inward, toward truth, toward compassion, toward home. You don't have to be fully healed to begin again. You don't have to be whole to offer something beautiful. Your brokenness is not a barrier, it's a doorway into empathy, into softness, to something more real than perfection. You are not too late, not too far gone, not behind. You are exactly where you're meant to be, mid-process, mid-chapter, mid-breath, and that is more than enough. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be seen. You need to be believed. You need to be held, even if only by your own arms. Let your healing take its time. Let your journey stay messy and magnificent. This healing isn't a destination. It's a daily act of choosing softness, and you are doing that. One breath at a time. Every seed planted in silence still grows in the dark. Just because you can't see change doesn't mean it's not happening. Your inner work is not invisible to the universe. The effort you put in matters even when it doesn't feel like enough. Healing, trying, showing up, these are acts of quiet bravery. Some of your greatest victories won't look like fireworks. They'll look like waking up again when yesterday hurt. They'll look like saying no for the first time. They'll look like pausing before you spiral. Progress is often quiet, soft, and almost unnoticeable. But it's still progress. The choice to keep trying even when no one claps is powerful. You don't need witnesses to validate your journey. You don't need recognition to make your effort real. Some things only your heart will understand. Some victories only your soul will feel. Let that be enough. You may not see the fruit yet, but roots are forming. You may not feel stronger, but you're stretching in new ways. Growth doesn't always feel good. It often feels like tension. But discomfort is not defeat's direction. The ache is proof that you're moving, that something deep within you is shifting. You are becoming even when you don't feel like it. On the outside, things may seem still. But inside, your effort is creating space for something new. Trust what you cannot yet measure. Trust what is slow, small, and sacred. You don't need big moments to prove your worth. The tiny moments count just as much. The moment you said, "I'll try again." The moment you chose water over worry. It's the moment you forgave yourself quietly. These moments are miracles too. Don't downplay your efforts just because they don't look dramatic. There is strength in subtlety. There is power in persistence. You've carried yourself through storms no one else knew about. That matters. You've chosen compassion when anger felt easier. It matters. You've kept going, even with a tired heart. That matters more than you know. The changes you make on the inside shift everything around you. Even if slowly, even if invisibly. Your healing shifts the future you are walking into. Every kind thought you give yourself rewrites your story. Every boundary you set shapes your peace. Every time you get back up, you're telling the world you believe in yourself. Even if you don't fully believe yet. Sometimes effort looks like holding on. Sometimes it looks like letting go. Sometimes it's breathing through the panic. Sometimes it's asking for help when silence felt safer. These are not small things. They're sacred moments of self-trust. And each one lays a foundation for the future you're building. You may not notice the shift, but you're creating momentum. You may not feel strong, but you're more resilient than yesterday. Every bit of effort leaves a mark on your heart, on your path, on the life that's still unfolding. Don't let the slow pace fool you. Even mountains rise one moment at a time. Even oceans are filled by steady streams. You don't need to rush, you just need to keep going. You don't need to prove anything, you just need to honor your truth. The results will come. The effort, this is already transformation. You're not stuck. You're simply growing at a pace meant to be gentle. You're not broken. You're becoming whole in a new way. It's okay if your path is winding. It's okay if your pace is slow. There's beauty in deliberate becoming. It's the kind that honors every step, even the wobbly ones, especially the wobbly ones. Let yourself be proud of your quiet effort. Let yourself see how far you've come. Look at the days you almost gave up but didn't. Look at the mornings you whispered. Try again. That's you building a new future. That's you rewriting your story. Every effort you've made counts, even the ones no one saw. Especially the ones no one saw. You're doing better than you think. You're becoming more than you know. You don't have to force results to be proud of your journey. The fact that you care enough to keep going, that's everything. Let your effort be enough today. Let your softness be a form of strength. You are not behind. You are becoming. One quiet, courageous effort at a time. You don't have to harden to survive. You don't have to become cold to be strong. Your softness is not a weakness. It's a form of resilience. In a world that tells you to toughen up, staying gentle is revolutionary. It takes courage to feel deeply in a numb world. It takes strength to remain open when life has tried to close you. Softness is the ability to break and still choose love. It's the choice to speak with kindness when anger tempts your voice. It's the instinct to nurture when pain could have made you bitter. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is the quiet voice saying, "This hurts, but I'll stay." Sometimes strength is crying without shame. Sometimes it's admitting you need help. You don't have to hold it all together to be strong. Falling apart is also part of the process. Your vulnerability is not something to hide. It's something to honor. Because in being real, you become whole. You don't need armor when you're already enough as you are. You don't need to pretend to be unbothered to be respected. Let your heart feel what it feels. Let your softness be seen. The world doesn't need more people who've shut down. It needs more people who are willing to feel. Your tears are not weakness. They're proof you care. Your empathy is not a fluke. Your power. In softness, you connect. In softness, you heal. You've survived things that could have made you numb, and yet you still notice the beauty in small things. That is strength. You still hope, even when life has let you down. That is strength. You still believe in love, even after heartbreak. That is the kind of strength this world forgets to celebrate. The quiet, steady, compassionate kind. The kind that holds space for others while holding broken pieces of yourself. The kind that says, "I'll stay soft, even if it hurts." Your ability to forgive is strength. Your capacity to listen without fixing is strength. Your presence is strength, even in silence. Don't let the world convince you that hard means healed. You can be soft and healed. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can care and still protect your peace. Softness doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means knowing who you are without needing to shout it. It means loving yourself enough not to perform strength. It means trusting that who you are is already strong enough. You can be tender and tenacious. You can cry and still be capable. You can be overwhelmed and still be wise. Your softness is not confusion. It's clarity with heart. Your gentle nature is a gift to this world. It teaches others that it's safe to be real. It reminds others that strength can hold space, not just power. You are not behind for needing rest. You're not weak for being moved by emotion. You are not broken for needing reassurance. These things make you human. These things make you beautifully, powerfully human. In every soft breath, you're choosing peace over perfection. In every kind word, you're choosing connection over control. That is a conscious, powerful choice. One that many are too afraid to make. The world may not understand your softness, but it needs it. Your presence is a quiet light in the noise. Your honesty is a balm for aching souls. When you choose softness, you remind others it's okay to exhale. When you show up authentically, you give others permission to be real too. You lead by being, not by shouting. You lead by feeling, not by forcing. You lead by allowing your heart to stay open, even when the world asks you to close it, even when it would be easier to grow thorns. But you've chosen another way, a harder way, the way of quiet, radical softness. That makes you incredibly strong. You are proof that love is not weakness. You're proof that truth can be spoken gently. You're proof that power doesn't need to roar to be heard. Let your softness be your anchor. Let it hold you when the world feels too sharp. Let it remind you who you are beneath the pressure to perform. You were not made to be hardened. You were made to be whole, to feel, to love, to rise with kindness, to breathe through the storms and still choose calm. This is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the wisdom of knowing that peace is worth protecting. That gentleness is a revolution of the soul. That staying soft is a way to stay strong. Don't have to change who you are to survive. You just need to return to yourself. The part of you that still believes in softness, it's a part of you that still holds light. That's the real strength, the part that stayed tender, even after everything, especially after everything. You don't need to hide your confusion to be worthy of love. You don't need to silence your doubt to be heard. You don't have to edit yourself down to be accepted. There is room for the full version of you here. The messy parts, the unsure parts, the parts that still don't have it figured out. They all belong. You were never meant to be a perfect puzzle piece. You were meant to be a whole world of contradictions. You are allowed to feel joy and sorrow at once. You are allowed to feel strong and scared in the same breath. You are allowed to take up space, even when you're still growing. Growth doesn't require disappearance. Healing doesn't require silence. You don't have to compress yourself into what's convenient for others. You don't have to minimize your needs to be included. The version of you that's still unsure deserves space. The version that's grieving deserves patience. The version that's growing deserves encouragement. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are enough in your exact shape today. Let go of the idea that you must be something else to be loved. You are already someone worth staying for. You don't have to prove your worth through constant doing. Just being is enough. Just existing is enough. You don't need to shrink your softness to seem strong. You don't need to shrink your dreams to seem realistic. You don't need to shrink at all. The world told you there was only one way to be enough. But that was a lie. There are infinite ways to be whole. Your way is just as sacred. You're not behind because you don't have it all figured out. You're not failing because you're still learning. You're just living. And that's what this is all about. Living with all the parts of you. Not just the shiny ones. Not just the strong ones. But the quiet ones too. The ones that need time. It's the ones that still feel unsure. It's the ones that are still becoming. You don't have to exile those parts to be valid. They're sacred too. You are a work in progress, not a mistake in motion. You're not unfinished. You're unfolding. Every version of you is part of the story. Not just the healed one. Not just the successful one. But the one that's trying. The one that's messy. One that keeps showing up anyway. That version is brave beyond words. That version deserves gentleness. You don't need to reach a destination to be worthy of love. You are already in the middle of something beautiful, even if it doesn't look like it yet. You are allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to grow slower than others. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to not know. These things don't make you broken. They make you real. Real humans are not linear. Real growth is not neat. Real life is not a checklist. You are allowed to pause. You're allowed to return. You are allowed to begin again. Nothing about you is too late. You didn't miss your window. You are still in it. Still becoming. Still worthy. The beauty is not in your perfection. The beauty is in your persistence. In your willingness to try again. In your courage to stay with yourself, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. There's room here for all of that.
Yes.
There's room here for the days you fall short.
Ah.
There's room here for the times you can't explain your sadness.
Ah.
There's room here for the version of you that just needs a little more time. You don't need to fix everything to be welcome. You don't need to be at your best to be seen. You just need to be, because being you is already enough. The world may ask for masks, but your soul asks for truth. And the truth is you are enough. In this season, in this form, in this breath. You don't have to earn rest through exhaustion. You don't have to earn care through struggle. You are worthy of softness simply because you exist. The world may teach you to hustle for love, to perform for attention, to sacrifice yourself for belonging. But your worth isn't transactional. It's not a reward, it's a truth. You don't have to achieve more to deserve kindness. You don't have to be productive to be held. Even in stillness, you are enough. Even in silence, you matter. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a human to be loved. Let that love begin with you. Let it begin before the goals are met. Let it begin while you're still becoming. It's okay to tend to your needs before others understand them. It's okay to give yourself what no one else offered you. You don't need to wait for permission to be gentle with yourself. You can start right now. You can speak to yourself like someone who deserves care. Because you do. You always have. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to be supported without shame. The belief that you must be strong all the time is a heavy lie. Even strength needs shelter. Even light needs time to recharge. You are not failing by needing help. You are human by accepting it. You don't have to be a burden to ask for what you need. You don't have to apologize for existing. You don't have to carry your pain alone to be respected. Right? The people who love you won't require you to hide your truth. And the care that lasts won't ask you to be anyone else. You can be loved without performing. You can be held without pretending. You can be cared for without conditions. Sometimes the greatest strength is allowing yourself to be nurtured, to let someone see the tender places, to stop bracing for rejection every time you speak your needs. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much. Wanting to be understood is not selfish. Needing gentleness is not weakness. You deserve comfort now, not just when you've earned it. You deserve encouragement now, not just when you've succeeded. You deserve peace now, not just when everything is perfect. You were never meant to survive without softness. You were never meant to thrive without tenderness. Give yourself the care you were never taught to expect. Sit with your feelings without rushing to fix them. Offer your mind the same patience you give others. Offer your body the same rest you wish for your friends. Speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. You are not your productivity. You are not your achievements. You are not your struggles. You are you on, that is enough. Don't wait until you're burned out to treat yourself gently. Don't wait until you've earned it to believe you're worthy of love. The truth is, your value is constant. Not based on effort, not based on speed, not based on how well you hide your pain. Based on the simple, irreplaceable fact that you're here. You deserve compassion on your worst days. You deserve patience when you're falling apart. You deserve presence when you're uncertain. That kind of care doesn't come from perfection. It comes from understanding your humanity. From recognizing that wholeness isn't flawless, it's integrated. You are allowed to bring your whole self to the table, even when it's messy, even when it's unpolished, even when it's still healing. Let people love the version of you that's still figuring it out. Let yourself be seen in the becoming. Let care find you there. There is no finish line for worthiness. No milestone you must reach before you're deserving. It's here already. It has always been here. Rest isn't a luxury. Gentle words aren't indulgent. Support isn't too much to ask. Your needs are not inconvenient. Your softness is not a liability. Your presence is not a problem. You're worthy of care, now and always. Without the performance, without the disguise, without the constant striving, just as you are already enough. You are already loved. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.